In my previous speeches, I showed you what civil discourse is and how it was used, or not used, with a focus on politics and government. Many of you who are not as interested in politics and government as me, or do not desire to go into politics and government as a future profession, are probably thinking, okay, this is interesting, but why does this matter to me, and how will this help my life? Well, civil discourse is not only used in politics and government, but it is also useful in everyday life and in most conversations people have every day. To reiterate from my previous speech, civil discourse is defined as a way of engaging in conversation that is intended to expand and enhance understanding and learning. The former president of Colgate University, Rebecca Chop, says that civil discourse is a life skill, a foundational principle of community, and the engine for politics, economics, and culture. Today, I hope to persuade you that using civil discourse in your life will benefit you to strengthen yourself and your connection with other people. In my speech today, first, I will be talking about why it is important to use civil discourse in our daily lives. Next, I will talk about how we can use civil discourse to connect with other people. Finally, I will show how the use of civil discourse can expand our knowledge and understanding. It is important to use civil discourse in one's daily life for a couple of reasons. Firstly, there is a value to ourselves when using civil discourse. We all have an urge to connect with one another and have them see what our values and beliefs are and accept those values and beliefs as valid. The use of civil discourse allows us to see past stereotypes and to break down walls that have been put up for certain individuals and groups. Rebecca Chop, former president of Colgate University, shows that our past, present, and future depend on this essential process. Citizens gather, listen to one another, debate, make up their minds, and determine a course of action. We have to be active in civil discourse and grow ourselves, our knowledge, or our perception of something, because it will most likely help us in the long run and also help wherever we are going or whatever we will end up doing. Secondly, there is a value to our community and the ones around us when civil discourse is used. In order to move forward in our world today, conversation and communication is more important than ever. All of our interactions with one another come in some form of communication, and if we do not employ the skills of civil discourse, then these communications will be basically meaningless. Although some people believe that getting into an argument and proving that you are right is the best way to go about a conversation, that is not correct, because the use of civil discourse will accomplish the same goals and create a better opportunity to let the other side see why their point is valid. I believe one of the main keys to improving your communication by way of civil discourse is to listen more than speak. It's easy to tone out a person or an idea and not care what they have to say, but to actively listen and understand their point of view is a source of connection and allows people to understand each other better. We've seen why it is important to use civil discourse in one's daily life, not just for ourselves, but also for the people around us. Now, let's turn our attention to how we can use civil discourse as a way of connection with other people. We can do this by using civil discourse to look past prejudice or stereotype to interact with people. If we look hard enough or delve deep into a conversation with someone, we will realize that there is something that we have in common with the other person, whether it be a multitude of things or whether it be something very minute. If we are able to do this, we will be able to further society in a better way because people will be more connected and more willing to help each other and grow as a community. Robert P. George and Cornel West, two Princeton professors, show that once people begin to interact with each other and have civil conversations, people feel more free to speak their minds, consider positions they may not have thought about before, or learn from a person even if we disagree with everything they're saying. Also, we can use civil discourse as a way to engage others and to start a dialogue. Don Wazenin writes in the Journal of Rhetoric and Public Affairs in 2014, the use of civil discourse is a likely way to get someone to be interested and engaged and to communicate with you. This is echoed by W. Barnett Pierce and Kim Pierce's interpretation of dialogic virtuosity, a type of communication that enables people to speak so that others can and will listen, and to listen so that others can and will speak. For example, if one professor were open to different opinions and were willing to debate these and work to come to a common understanding, which would be this professor here, and there was another professor that was so stuck in his ways and believed he was infallible with the information that he was giving to students, which would be this professor. Which would you be more willing to disagree with or engage with them on a point you were interested with or that you disagreed with them? All of you say the first professor, of course, because they will hear what you have to say and enter into a conversation with you. We've talked about why civil discourse is important in a person's daily life and how we can use it as a way of connection with others. But we have not yet talked about how using civil discourse can further our knowledge or understanding of different topics. We are able to use civil discourse in the classroom to successfully educate and expand knowledge of a topic. Barbara May Gale writes in Communication Education that students need to do more than find just a couple resources to be able to defend their position. They need to gather a variety of resources from different viewpoints, confront their own ideologies of their position, and learn to maintain an open mind as they encounter different views from their own stance. In my experience in both high school and college, when I'm pushed to consider multiple opinions on a topic and come up with an overall understanding of this topic, I've found that I've slightly tweaked my views because of what I've found, or I've completely changed what I thought because of the opinions that were out there that I had no idea existed. Also, civil discourse is a way to debate, conversate controversial topics, and expand our knowledge of these issues. When we debate controversial issues in a civic manner, and we are able to listen to different sides of an argument, some you may agree with, or some you may not, a person is able to have a well-rounded understanding of the issue and is able to make up their mind with an educated opinion and is able to back up that opinion with facts. If we do not use civil discourse this way and proceed with arguing, it will be like a traffic jam. No one will be able to get anywhere, and everyone involved will be stuck to their ideals and their original opinions. Andrea Lesky writes in Liberal Education, participants in civil discourse need to learn about the issues at hand, critically weigh the information's validity, build a logical argument, and present it in a convincing but impartial manner to the people that might have directly opposing views. They need to be aware and attentive to alternative interpretations, looking at them analytically, and be willing to alter positions based on convincing arguments and evidence. In my speech today, I first covered why civil discourse is important to use in one's daily life. Next, I focus on how we can use civil discourse as a way of connection with the people around us. Finally, I showed how using civil discourse can expand our knowledge or understanding of something we are unfamiliar with. In closing, I want to stress the fact that we must listen and we must actively participate in civil discourse and actively learn from the people around us. Because when we do this, we will be able to better understand and better ourselves, and also better our community, and ultimately push our society forward and do our best to make it a better place. Thank you.